Hello friends, today we're talking all about evergreen versus closed door launch models, whether or not you should keep your doors open or have them open for a limited time. We're going to talk about the pros and the cons and when you shouldn't be using a closed door model. You're listening to the Optimize Online Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Stacey Barnes. I'm a customer journey marketing strategist and I help you maximize sales by optimizing the customer experience. One of the things that some marketers like to emphasize when it comes to closed doors model is that people need urgency to buy. While this isn't incorrect, I don't believe that closing the doors for the sake of getting someone to buy should be the reason why they buy. Instead, you should be giving them incentive to purchase because they want to be in the program, not just because the doors are going to close. The reasons for opening or closing the door is actually dependent on the type of offering that you have. If you're offering a new product or a new offering, I highly recommend starting off with a closed door model where you open the doors for a limited amount of time and then close them generally about a week after you've opened them. This is going to allow everyone to join your program and start at the same time. And then it also allows you to kind of test and work out the kinks on your offer before you open the doors again. Having a closed door model also works great if you have a cohort where everyone starts and stops at a specific time. So for example, if you have a 90-day program and you want everyone to start in the same place, the closed door model makes sense. Being able to close the doors will allow you to track everyone's progress week by week. Everyone comes in at the same time and you get to welcome everybody as a collective and then move through the content through each week or each module or however you have it set up. And then you can track everyone's progress. It's harder to track progress when people are joining in at different times. For example, if it's about week 4 of your program, you should be answering questions that are generally related to week 4. Otherwise, if you have people joining in at different levels, you may be answering both beginner questions as well as advanced questions, and the live calls will tend to feel scattered and disorganized. Now, closing the doors to a program when there's no real reason for it other than scarcity or scarcity is not a great reason to be closing them. This is more of a carrot versus stick. Carrot is incentives like bonuses and extra fun things that you can add to encourage people to join, whereas closing the doors is more like the stick. It's almost punishment for not making a decision on time. If there's no real reason, there's no good reason, there's no live cohort, it's a self-study course that they can access anytime, there's no good reason for you to be closing the doors for the sake of telling people that they're not going to be able to join for another year. Closing the doors when you don't really have a good reason to feels more like manipulation than anything else, and people are getting smarter and wiser to these marketing manipulation tactics. There's a smarter and wiser way to launch, which is sort of a hybrid between the launch model and the evergreen model. But first, let's talk about what evergreen is and who can benefit from having their doors open all the time. Evergreen works best for a tested product, something that you've already launched and know it works. It takes a couple of launches before you can shift into an evergreen model, particularly for something like a self-study course that's a few $100s or more. Now, if you have a product that's low ticket, simply like a downloadable workbook or a very short masterclass or mini workshop, then you don't really need to test it as many times. But for something that's a little bit more complex, like a little mini course or self-study course, you're going to want to test the launch version of this before you switch to evergreen. The reason for this is because you want to make sure that the emails that you're sending have high open rates, that your sales page is converting, and the only way you know that is by launching it a few times. By launching it more than once, you're going to see what emails do better and which launch styles work better. That way, when you go to switch over to evergreen, you're using tested email systems, you're using tested ads, you're using assets that you know are going to work, so you don't have to worry about optimizing it too much later down the road. So that a way that an evergreen model traditionally works, it's sort of like an automated launch. Typically what will happen is your subscriber will join your email list, and as soon as they join, they get a sequence of emails. The sequence of emails can be anywhere from about 7 to 10 emails over the course of about 2 weeks-ish, anywhere from 2 weeks to about a month. You want to give that new subscriber enough time to warm up to you the same way that we would do in a regular launch, but we're doing this in a evergreen fashion where, they can join at any time. But give that buyer time to warm up to you, get them wins on their freebie, allow them to see some of your free content. And then once they've gotten to know you for after, let's say 2 to 3 weeks, then you can start doing some soft pitches into your main offer. Typically though, in a live launch, you would have expiring bonuses or special discounts when buyers decide to choose to purchase early. Some people like to use tools like Deadline Funnel to have those discounts expire automatically, depending on the email that the buyer signs up with. Again, this is one of those gray areas that feels a little bit like manipulation. Technically, somebody can go in and sign again, opt in again with a different email or under a different IP address and kind of hack that deadline. But that's a story for another day. The truth of the matter is that there really is not as much incentive for someone to buy during an evergreen model. It's more like, here it is. If you want it, take it. If you don't want it right now, no worries. No big deal. Now, of course, you can always improve upon the email sequence that's getting them from the lead magnet to the purchase. But one of the greatest things that you can do with an evergreen model is have those little mini launches throughout your year as sort of a way to boost the sign up process. So this is sort of a hybrid between the closed door and the evergreen model. When you do it like this, then you can still keep your doors open, but during these launch periods, you have additional bonuses and extras that get people to sign up during that specific launch period. Bonuses typically include extra calls, extra support, maybe an extra Facebook support group, like a live version, like a live cohort of going through a self-study course, among other things. But basically, you have some incentives that really gets them excited to buy during that time period. So anyone who went through your evergreen model before and was kind of sitting on the fence, then maybe now's the time for them to pull the trigger. Now, again, if you are new to creating a product or offering, you definitely want to start with a closed door model. And then as you improve and go through your different launches, you'll start to see what emails are working, what ads are working, what strategies are working on social media, and then you can improve and then move to the evergreen model. And then doing the hybrid launch / evergreen model will allow you to keep your doors open, but give a little boost and extra incentive for people to join during those launch periods. The moral of the story is don't use the closed door model as a way to manipulate people into buying. Launch in a way that makes sense for your business and where it's at today. Now, if you've been in this online game for some time, if you've been in it for 5+ years, you're going to notice that there's a shift in the way that people are doing business. People are getting wiser about closing doors and realizing that's not a real reason for them to buy. What we want to focus on now is incentive for people to join and really truly mastering the art of marketing so people want to join today, no matter what bonuses or incentives they are. You really need to package your product or program to really look enticing because the person who's buying it actually needs it, and again, not because the doors are closing. What we're lacking in this market is patience. People need some time to get to know, like, and trust you. Even if they don't buy during your welcome sequence, and even if they don't buy because of expiring bonuses, what people really need is time to make a decision. This part of the marketing game is where the tortoise starts to gain speed. The hare was winning in the first few years of online marketing and expiring bonuses and doors closing. And now the tortoise, the one who is patient and letting people come to them, letting people watch their content, letting people take their time to make a decision, those are the marketers that are winning today. So have a little bit of patience. Go ahead and try out the launch model, see how it works for your specific product. Once you've mastered that, then you can move on to Evergreen or Evergreen hybrid launch models. I hope you found this episode helpful. Let me know what you think. You can now tag me at the brand new Instagram account at Optimized Online Marketing. Again, at Optimized Online Marketing on Instagram. I'd love to know what you think, and I hope to see you on the next one. Take care.